Job for this evening is stripping down these shocks. Now, springs look a bit corroded and nasty, so I'm planning to get a new pair of springs for this once I work out what poundage I need. Shocks themselves are fine. They have been painted when I put the car back together last time, but they've been just rebuilt at the time by AVO, who make the coilovers. This one was a little bit of a pain in the bum to take apart, so I just had to put a pair of grips on the shaft here because I couldn't get it undone just holding the top there with an 8mm. So this should now come apart quite nicely. There's no tension on the spring in case you're wondering, so I'm not about to lose my hand, I hope. Yep, so we're going to strip these down, get them all painted up and back together again, and yeah, one more thing hopefully that will be good to go when we start reassembling things shortly. Okay, so the suspension's in bits, and what we've got here are the top mounts. So you've got the cups that sit here, there's a rubber mount that goes in the top of the suspension tunnel, and then you've got these bad boys which have a bearing inside. Now, I looked down the top and thought, this does not look quite right. What manner of thing has happened to that? It's supposed to look like that on both sides. Look at it. Look at the state of it. That's supposed to be a circle in the centre there, hole. And sure enough, the other one is much the same. Look at the state of that. Now, I do wonder if it's because I've got rose jointed TCAs. Now, these things don't have a bushing in them, which means that they don't absorb much of the impact. The cups don't look great either, actually. Where these sit at the top of the mounts, look, you can see where they've pushed up and it's damaged the metal. I was going to ring AVO tomorrow, see if I get some new ones, but actually thinking about it, I'm pretty certain these are part of the original Ford setup, which I bolted onto the top of the shocks. So yeah, I definitely need to get a new pair of those tomorrow, because otherwise this is going to delay the project going back together again. Here we go again. Now it's the weekend, the sun is shining for a change, which is nice. It's relatively warm and new brake lines have arrived. I'd like to just say thank you to Classic Car Geek. When I emailed him, explained that the brake lines were wrong, the connectors on one end, he leapt to it and he's made us set up and post them out to be first class. So they're here, ready to work on the car today. Fortunately, still waiting for some bolts and bits and pieces which were ordered tail end of last week and should have been dispatched on Tuesday. So where they are, who knows. So whether we get to putting the tank and everything back in today, not sure, but we have got a lot to do, so I'm going to be cracking on. Please excuse my improvised workbench here. It just works quite well for something that's this sort of shape. Anyway, lines are all made up, they follow the originals along, pretty happy, and they should have the correct connector on the end. I thought whilst I was here, because I was chatting with my neighbours, I would make up the other line, which is great. Again, I've done the same sort of technique, just following it along quite tightly using the cable ties, and of course you can see the problem again. So on to the next one then, and I've decided I'm going to crack on and do some of the fuel lines now. So I'm just in the process of cleaning these up so they'll be ready for paint. Process for this: bit of sandpaper wrapped around, and I'll get a little bit of wire wool on the ends as well, just to make sure it's all okay. Then have a nice coating of paint. Right, I've been out now and put the first coat of paint on the fuel lines. So I'm taking them back as far as I can to bare metal. There's a bit of pitting on these. I'm going to keep an eye on them. Maybe if I can find a better or new replacement set. A new set may go on, but in the meantime, I'm just taking it back to the metal. It all seems to be very strong and sturdy. There's no signs of any perforation at all. I'll just give it a coat of paint just to protect it. Whilst waiting for that to dry then, I've come out here to do the shocks, which will be out again with the wire wool. Well, what can I say about coilovers? When you've got the screw thread here, it's exposed. Last time I just had it heavily greased, and as you can see, it just got very rusty. Half tempted to paint this, set the coilover height to what I wanted it to be, because I never really adjust it, and then just paint it once again, all the way up to the mount for the spring, to try and protect it. Shock's starting to look much better. Here's a before. You can see the aforementioned rust in the thread here, and then after I've just got to straighten out the tail on this one, just to make sure that's all okay, ready to go. But a little bit more wire will work, I think, on the thread, and otherwise should be ready for a clean down and then paint. Shocking. Twice as shocking. I almost forgot to mention about my ruined top mounts. Yes, these are a Ford part originally, and yes, I managed to get a pair, about 27 quid. Not too bad. Should be here later today, fingers crossed. Not gonna lie, it feels like it's gonna rain, but in the meantime, what's the stage time I've been out here grinding some more. This is tedious, really tedious, aggressive. Just trying to get everything back through to the metal so I can get it all coated again, make it all look nice and tidy. Yeah, I think we've got the brake servo to do, and maybe the TCAs. That's pretty much it for the grinding and cleaning and painting. So it's starting to get dark and it's starting to rain. As you can see, things are everywhere because I've been trying to get things done. What I have done is put the wheel bearing in and put the front hub together for the driver's side. I need to do the passenger side yet, but I think I'm going to still run out of time. Yeah, so it started to rain, as I say, and unfortunately it seems to have ruined the finish on the brake servo, which, as you can see, has all water dots all over it, or you might not be able to see, but either way, it seems to have ruined the finish. Might be the same for the anti-roll bar as well. Brake lines, I think, are probably dry enough. Other end of the garden, excuse all the mess, still working out this out here. Shocks are hanging out and they look okay, actually. I've also given the TCAs a quick coat of paint. Now, I need to replace this rubber, which is why that's not masked up. They look okay. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do about these, because I don't know if this will destroy my bearing. I might change these for normal ones yet, but we'll see. Nighttime again, and brake piped in for this side. I spoke to Classic Car Geek, or I emailed him, and he emailed me straight back and said, very sorry about the pipes. Very confused. It's different to anything else that he'd made. He'd made several sets of those, and never a problem. But nevertheless, said that he would make a setup and drop them out to me tomorrow, which is incredible customer service. He's the other side of our county, but I thought very, very kind indeed. But there we go. First pipe in. Would have had both in, and then could have put the tank in. But never mind. Never mind. Sometimes you just need something shiny and new to make you feel a bit better. I've gone for a new master cylinder to go with the servo, so although I need to sand it and repaint it again, I reckon, yeah, that's going to look quite nice in the engine bay. Just in case you're wondering why I don't film under here so often, the answer is it's just unbelievably tight. So I guess you can see it's just up on axle stands here. If you imagine that is the size of my hand, and probably that distance between my hand and the deck there is the space that I have to work in. It is so tight under here, really difficult to film and to work, and to be honest, it's just a bit claustrophobic under there. So, but here we are. Here's the underside of the car. We haven't seen it for a little while. Need to stick another brake pipe in on the other side, and then the new bolts when they arrive, hopefully in the next couple of days, for the lower arms, because one of them is stripped, needs to go in there. I also want to change one of the bolts over here, which is one of the new ones irritates me, but I think it's cross-threaded and it just needs to be tight. So more a case really of making sure that everything is tied and is in good sound condition rather than being pretty. But whilst I'm there, I might as well do it for the sake of a few quid. Bolts, incidentally, if you're looking for your older cars, older Fords particularly, I'm not sure what else he does, but Retro Bolts UK. I think it's been on holiday, so I've been waiting for them for some time, hoping they would have landed by now, but there we go. Something else to look forward to. Well, that's it for now. If in case you're wondering how many times I hit my head on the various bits and pieces that hang up behind me, it was about 17 times. I was counting. Occasionally I hit my back as well, but there you go. Dangers of working in a small garage. If you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us also on the socials at UK Motor Talk everywhere. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, when hopefully things will be going back together and be getting a bit closer to getting this thing back on the ground.